Hey, Washington Commanders fans. Get ready for news that will shake the foundations of our team and define the future of our offseason. You'll find out which 3 players are on the chopping block and could be cut to free up millions of dollars in salary cap space, and one of those names will surprise you, but it doesn't stop there. We will dive into the biggest need for the Commanders this offseason, revealing why the defensive line is the area that urgently requires a rebuild. And to top it all off, you'll discover how Dan Quinn is setting pride aside to make the biggest hire possible for the defensive coordinator position, and why this decision could save or cost him his job. Stay tuned until the end because every detail is crucial for the future of the Commanders. The Washington Commanders are expected to have around $100 million in salary cap space to work with this offseason, making them one of the most intriguing teams in the free agency market. As a fan, this news fills me with hope as we have the chance to rebuild the roster and bring in talents that can truly make a difference on the field. It's a golden opportunity for Adam Peters to showcase his ability to assemble a competitive team. The team could exceed the $100 million mark if they trade away some of the players currently on the roster. Here are 3 players most likely to be cut this offseason, and each represents a significant savings that can be redirected towards strategic reinforcements in critical areas of our team. Let's start with cornerback Marshon Lattimore, and this is a situation that frustrates me. Lattimore has not lived up to expectations during his time with the Commanders. After being acquired in a trade with the New Orleans Saints in November 2024, the team hoped he would become the starting cornerback. Unfortunately, that did not happen in the nation's capital, and the investment has not paid off. Lattimore recorded only 27 tackles in 9 games this season for the Commanders, his first full year in the nation's capital. Those numbers simply aren't good enough for someone earning the salary of one of the best cornerbacks in the league. It's the lowest tackle total of his career and indicates he's on the decline, which is very concerning for fans who expected much more from him. The Commanders can save $18.5 million by cutting Lattimore without incurring any negative salary cap impact. That's an obvious decision for the Commanders, and as a fan, I believe that money could be much better spent on other players who can genuinely contribute to our defense. It's a necessary change that needs to happen quickly. Now let's talk about Nick Allegretti, our offensive lineman. After starting all 17 games in his first season with the Commanders, Allegretti's participation has been limited to just 4 starts for Washington in his second season with the team. This reduction in playing time clearly shows he is no longer in the coaching staff's plans. It's likely the Commanders will draft 1 or 2 players for the offensive line this offseason. Therefore, keeping Allegretti on the roster doesn't make much sense, especially considering his salary. He has just $6 million left in the final year of his contract. But the Commanders could save about $2.5 million by cutting Allegretti this offseason. Finally, we have fullback Nick Bellore, and this is a position that has been losing relevance. The Commanders don't have many candidates for significant cuts. Lattimore stands out. And Allegretti also makes sense, as he earns more than he should for a backup. But the team could also save money by cutting fullback Nick Bellore. Bellore is earning almost $2 million in the last year of his contract, but the dead cap value is only $247,500. Therefore, the Commanders can save a little if they decide to trade him and replace him with someone younger and cheaper in free agency. It's a smaller savings, but every penny counts when we're trying to rebuild the roster. And now, get ready to understand the Commanders' biggest need this offseason. You will discover why the defensive line is the critical area that needs urgent rebuilding and how this directly impacts our chances of returning to the playoffs next season. The Washington Commanders will have a long offseason ahead, trying to recover from their playoff absence. As a fan, I know this is a golden opportunity to fix our mistakes and build a stronger team. The team made a significant turnaround from 2023 to 2024, giving them hope that they can replicate the feat from 2025 to 2026. However, if they want to return to the playoffs, they urgently need to improve their defensive line. Eva Geltheim, a contributor for Sports Illustrated, made this very clear in her analysis. As the Commanders seek to get back in contention, they will need to prioritize the defense, and particularly the defensive line. Washington needs reinforcements at all levels of the defense, but the defensive line should be the priority. The Commanders' run defense ranked 3rd from the bottom in the NFL, ahead of only the hapless Giants and Bengals. Aside from allowing an average of 141.8 rushing yards per game, the Commanders also struggled to pressure opposing quarterbacks consistently. Improving the defensive line will help Washington impose its pace against both the run and the pass. The Commanders need a better defensive line, and this is no surprise to anyone who followed the season. The Commanders need to bolster their positions after the departure of Jonathan Allen, who became a free agent. Darren Payne had an underwhelming year, and Javon Kinlaw did not meet the Commanders' expectations, leaving us exposed on the field. The moment is extremely important for the Commanders, so the urgency must be at its peak. Geltheim continued. The Commanders enter a crucial off-season. After a surprising run to the NFC Championship, fueled by decisive performances from Jaden Daniels, the Commanders went all in for the 2025 season. Unfortunately, the choice proved to be a mistake, as they invested too much in an aging veteran roster, while Daniels missed a significant amount of time due to multiple injuries. Washington will need to prioritize rejuvenating the roster while building a strong team around Daniels, Giltheim wrote. The free agency period is expected to start in mid-March, giving the Commanders the chance to improve their biggest weakness. It's our chance to bring in impact players who can transform our defense. And now for the news that could define the future of the Commanders. Dan Quinn is setting pride aside to make the biggest hire possible, and you will discover why Brian Flores might be the missing piece to fix our defense and take us back to the playoffs. The Washington Commanders have already promoted David Blau to the new offensive coordinator and now need to focus on the defense. As a fan, this is the part that worries me the most, as our defense was a total disaster this season. Coach Dan Quinn finally fired Joe Witt Jr., who was the defensive coordinator and must fix the defense this offseason, especially since he is a coach focused on defense. Hiring the right defensive coordinator could be the move that saves Quinn's job in Washington, or the final blow. The Commanders have been linked to big names like Jonathan Gannon, but the latest name would be the biggest gamble of this coaching cycle and the best possible hire. It's a name that makes fans dream of a dominant defense. The Commanders are looking to interview Brian Flores for the defensive coordinator position, and this news has me excited. The Commanders desperately need to fix the defense, which was one of the worst in the league last year, and the latest news could work wonders in that department. Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network reported that the Commanders hope to interview Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings, for an open position on the team. This would be a gigantic hire on many levels, and the best-case scenario for the Commanders this offseason. Flores would run his own defense, call his own plays, and have significant influence over roster moves this offseason. This means Quinn would have to agree to give complete control to Flores, who is already one of the biggest names in the coaching market this offseason. Flores is the top candidate for the defensive coordinator position available this offseason and would instantly become the highest paid defensive coordinator in the NFL, worth every penny invested. His contract expires this offseason, and he will have many options, so the Commanders will need to invest heavily and mount a strong campaign to hire him. Flores is about to be interviewed for the head coaching position with the Baltimore Ravens and for many other defensive coordinator vacancies. The demand for Flores is very high throughout the league, which means the competition will be fierce. As a fan, I hope our front office does everything necessary to bring him to Washington. Brian Flores would be an absolute home run hire for the Commanders, and I will explain why. We saw how bad the Commanders' defense was this season, and Flores is an instant solution for any team he joins. He took the Miami Dolphins defense from 32nd to 8th in the league, and he did the same for the Vikings. They had the 17th best defense in 2023 and quickly became the third best in the league last season. The Vikings allowed the second lowest average passing yards per game in the NFL, with only 158 yards, while the Commanders ranked 5th, allowing 242 passing yards per game. They also allowed the 7th lowest average points per game, with 19.6, while the Commanders allowed 26.5 points per game. The difference is glaring and shows the impact Flores can have. The Vikings defense carried the team on its back this season despite offensive struggles. We saw with the Houston Texans and the New England Patriots how much a dominant defense helps a young quarterback, and Flores could fix the disaster in Washington. Jaden Daniels would benefit immensely from a defense that can stop the opponent and give more opportunities to the offense. The Commanders need to do everything possible to hire Flores, and that will cost a lot of money, total control of the defense, possibly a coaching assistant role, and Quinn setting his pride aside for the good of the team. It's a necessary sacrifice, and as a fan, I hope Quinn understands the importance of this decision for the future of the franchise. Hey, fan, after hearing about the necessary cuts, the urgency to improve the defensive line, and the possibility of hiring Brian Flores, do you believe that Adam Peters and Dan Quinn have the ability to turn the Commanders into a competitive team next season? And more importantly, do you think Quinn should really put his pride aside and give full control of the defense to Flores, even if that diminishes his own power as head coach? Leave your opinion in the comments. I want to know what you think about the future of the Washington Commanders.